What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of Ballin with your host Shawn and Grant. Today, it's not going to be too much of getting into the season. We're saving that for next week with our special guests. But today, we'll just talk about top five. We're going to give our top five. Me and Grant entering the season. We did the same thing last year, and I'd say it ended on the season. Just looking at how the season went for all those guys we named, pretty good. So we'll do that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about MLB playoffs and NFL discussion. I know we're NBA basketball podcast, but, you got to expand our horizon and get the other viewers in where we can. So you got to do what you got to do, man. Let's start with the let's just start with the MLB playoffs and the NFL discussion. Just get that out of the way, because I know you said you was kind of tuning into a game right now. What are your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, no. So the MLB's been pretty good so far. It hasn't been. We've seen at least, I think, every single series somebody's got one game so far in it. So it's been good. I know, obviously, as true Michiganders, we're out here watching the Tigers.
Yes, sir.
I know even my boss at work, dude, it was the best. He came over to me today. We're sitting there, and I thought he was gonna yell at me because I was on my phone, just sitting there. I didn't even hear boss man walk over, and he was like, "Hey, G Rhodes," he was like, "What's the score of the game there?" And I was like, "Oh,"
You knew.
I was like, "We're doing well. We're up 3-0, you know." So it's been fun. I know as Tigers fans, like I was saying, it's definitely exciting to see us in the playoffs after a decade. It's been a while now. America sounded like it was absolutely rocking. Shout out, I know my boy James and Nate looked like they were at the game today, holding it down.
Yes,
So
sir.
congrats to them on seeing a solid W. Again, we're recording this Wednesday night, so the Tigers won. Tigers won again, so we're up 2-1 in the series. So that's been exciting, but like the Mets Philly series, like that's been super exciting there. A lot of action there. Like Pete Alonso absolutely just nuking one, keeping them alive in this series. Which at this exact second we're recording it, who knows? This could totally come back to bite me, but they are winning at this exact moment, 4-1. So we'll see if they win this one. I mean, they're moving on to the next round too. Yankees and Royals. I mean, that one was interesting. That's still tied up right there, and it's also tied up in the game we're watching currently too. So it's been exciting. Dodgers Padres has been a really obviously like star-studded matchup, but it's also been like a little bit of like there's been some heated moments there, with the as far as I forget who it was out in the outfield for the Padres. It's Pandoris or how I'm not sure exactly. I believe
I'm
I'm
out.
pronouncing it horribly, but he went out for a ball over there and got into a huge little spat over there with some Dodgers fans, and Tatis ended up, I believe he was, again, you can look it up exactly, but ended up throwing like a baseball in the direction of like the dugout. It just ended up getting it was getting real chippy to say the least, and it was definitely feeling like playoff baseball again, so that was fun to watch. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I've been really tuned into watching these games, kind of getting a feel for, kind of a love, I should say, for baseball again, just because for a while there, especially as a Tigers fan, we didn't have much to cheer for. We were kind of in the dark, So Detroit's finally making a move, so it feels good to kind of watch all of that and watch some other good playoff baseball.
Yeah, them Tigers, they let them get hot, and
Hey,
yeah,
somebody let them
it's
get hot.
for real. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm 24, he's 25, so yeah, we was ninth grade the last time they won
Yeah.
playoff. Yeah, yeah. Dang, that's crazy.
Like,
Grown
yeah,
men now.
that's
Grown
what I'm
men pay
saying.
bills. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got bills and stuff, so yeah, life is way different now. It ain't
Yeah.
so easy no more.
Nah, for real, for real. Real quick, just tap into the NFL season. Um, the Chiefs are the Chiefs and the
Yeah.
Vikings are still undefeated. Unfortunately, the Vikings will be humbled not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday,
Yep.
against when they play the Lions. So I hope that we win that game. The Lions play the Cowboys this week. Need
Yep.
that lick back. So that'll be a very interesting, important game. Definitely be tuned in. Anything else you kind of takeaways? How's your fantasy team doing? What's with update the weekly?
Yeah, weekly update with the fantasy squad. I like to hear about everyone else's too, but my squad so far doing very solid. Lost to my boy Gavin by like less than one a couple weeks ago. That was detrimental. My team took a week off when I played you, but at least the whole squad did it, so they got the bye out of the way. After that, we've been cooking. Beat both of them. I believe I got your brother actually this week, so
Oh,
yeah, I think so. Let him know I'll be on that head top for sure, but.
I
But yeah, this
will.
is a big week. This is a big week for sure. So I'm looking to get another W before I go into a big time matchup against Caden. Because I want this publicly stated for the record. I think Caden Lucci's fantasy squad is fraudulent. Mad fraudulent, I should say.
Fraudulent.
They're about as good as that Chiefs, undefeated record there. The Chiefs really should have about 3 losses, 4 losses, but yeah, we'll let all that slide. So. We'll see, but my squad's been doing pretty well. I know I saw a statistic today, just speaking on fantasy football. I think it was 4.7% of all teams out there were undefeated.
Yeah, I know
And,
one. My brother
and
in our family league, he's undefeated. He
ah,
smacked me this week by 100 points. Exactly 100
ooh,
points.
yo, you got,
It was bad.
is this a hot take? I don't know. We can get this in the comments below, but if you get blown out that bad, bro, I think you got to auto draft the next year. I think you might have to mandatory auto draft. That might be Yeah, you're definitely getting demoted to like defensive coordinator. You can pick a defense.
I'd have to go through his team. He had Nico Collins and everybody. He was bragging me about this is Shiloh, by the way. So he's been bragging me
Ah,
about it, just like he did about the whole Celtics thing. So yeah, I heard about it.
he's
So
had it good. He's had it good for a little while.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is what it is. We'll bounce back. Luckily, it's only week 6, so we still got some time before playoffs. I can get my lick back.
True,
So
true.
in both leagues, I need it. You're 2-3 in both leagues, so not good, not looking good. But be
Yeah,
on the
three
come
and
up though.
two, 3-2 with yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see where we're at. At least we're
yes.
not. At least we're not. We got some wins. There are 4% of the brackets, or at least teams out there, excuse me, that have no wins. No wins at all. Nobody in our league, actually. Nobody in our league. Everyone's got at least one. So.
Yes, yeah. So we'll see as the NFL season continues. Grant, let's get this top 5 out of the way. So, like I said, we're gonna do top 5 entering the season, kind of based off last year, and just looking at teams, free agency, and things like that. So how you want to do this? You want to go back and forth, or you want to just drop your list and then I'll drop mine?
We could go back and forth. I think that works. I think that one
Okay.
works.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
curious
So
to see
my
where you got with.
yeah. So I'll give my fifth best right now in the league. I'm giving it to Anthony Edwards.
Oh,
He
that's
should be
a
higher, but he's not because I have some vets and some other guys up there. But Anthony Edwards, just based off the play last year, just based on how he like his just character. But he's a dog. Just how he gets it done on the court. Um, yeah, he's definitely going to be somebody to reckon with this year. It'll be interesting to see, how he can keep it up with the loss of Karl Anthony Towns to the trade to the Knicks. So, but I think he'll be fine. I think people need to slow down the Jordan comparisons. People was getting a little too crazy about that last year, especially when he was going off in playoffs. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is Jordan's son." He's definitely one of them ones, though. He definitely got next up.
yeah. No, I respect that. I respect that. Yeah, you're not gonna like this one here, but I'm putting my boy LeBron James up there because he's definitely gonna have to cook this year. He did it last year. Like I'm not. He was definitely a top player. Obviously, his defense isn't gonna be where it needs to be, but when I was hearing him talk about how he was pissed about all these minutes restrictions he was getting last year, all that,
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, it just because I don't know, like it seemed like just looking at him last year, like it looked like he was like defeated at some points. Like there'd just be times you'd even see him on the bench, you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? At some point, I was like almost questioning myself, like, does he still want it? Like, does he even still want to go out there and play? And so hearing him say that, I kind of think he's gonna have like a really good kind of. I wouldn't call this his because I don't think it's gonna be his final year, but I think this will be his final year of really truly going out and giving it 110%. Because I don't.
Really?
At the end of the day, I mean, like we've seen his longevity, and I'll talk. We'll talk about this another time probably, but like we've seen his longevity, but we've already seen like just subtle signs of like him starting to like kind of. I wouldn't even say regress really, because he's not truly regressing, but like just the fact that he's not gonna be the guy that's going out there and literally doing what he's been asked to do for like his whole career, and just like lead every category of this team, like do all that. I think at the final season of his, whenever that is, it will be more of like we'll actually see him somewhat passing the torch. Not completely, of course, because it's still LeBron, and as much as I like to do it, he's still a douchebag, and he's still got to be the top guy out there. But yeah, that's where I would say. Again, I think we're gonna see a great season out of him. And just real quick, I'll go to number four, just because it's you've already said it. I got Anthony Edwards right ahead of him, just because I personally think that after like last season, like he's just getting like better and better. We're just seeing like little flashes of him, and I think he's getting the experience that he truly needs. And I think yes, losing Karl Anthony Towns hurts, but I think it's also going to elevate his game to where like again, 'cause the thing was like we saw it, like he was the shot maker, he was the guy that's making the plays. Like it's just gonna get better. It's just gonna get better and better, and I'm curious to see him, step up, especially in a defensive role. You hearing him talk about how he wants to like clamp up Jason Tatum and all this stuff and all this talk. So I think it's gonna be super interesting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. And unfortunately, I have to do this, but you said my number four spot player, Jason Tatum. I know not a lot of people are gonna like this, but what he did last year definitely. I mean, they won the championship. He should have been given Finals MVP, but it wasn't his time. So, I think that he can have a good season this year. I believe he'll be in MVP conversations because I think if the Celtics want to go back to back, if they want to be at the top of the league like they were last year, and Porzingis being out for at least the first 2-3 months of the season, Jason Tatum is going to have to bring his A game each and every game. I know we've seen it in spots before, but he's gonna need to be playing every single game at that level. I think he wants it this year. I think he wants that respect, even though they did win the championship. But I think he felt like he was disrespected, especially after the Olympic thing and everything. I think he's hungry. I think he's ready to go. So he's my number four for the season.
No, that's fair. So then my number three, then I'll jump to my number three. I'm putting my boy Jokic up there. The dude is, I mean, I don't even need to really speak too much on it. I mean, we're all pretty familiar with what Jokic can do. It's just gonna be, I mean, they're a solid team. We're gonna see what he can do this year. I don't see him regressing at all. I just think he's such a solid player that, yeah, I have no more to say than just he's just a standout solid player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's a little bit higher on my ranking. Number three, I'm gonna use another guard. I'm gonna go Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh,
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, straight dog, the best team, all around team in the West. I think this year he's got all the pieces. Everything to fit him. He's matured. He's got it. He's got the light. He can score anytime he wants to. 30 points per game, essentially. I think that's even. I don't know if it'll go higher. It'll probably be still around that mark for this year, but still, I think he's another one of those guys that are going to be in the MVP conversations. And I think hot take, maybe not hot take. He's my early favorite to win it right now.
hmm, hmm. See, so that's interesting. So I don't know. I'm gonna give you my 1-2 because I'm torn because I think I got my original take was gonna be shy at number two, but
Mm-hmm.
I think this is gonna be his year to potentially win it. Talking about MVP here again, we saw everything out of him last year. We know what he's capable of. I mean, outstanding scorer, just an extreme playmaker for sure. But the other guy who I want to also mention, who I had number one or number two, who I'm kind of still going back and forth, but got my other boy Luka Doncic.
Mm.
The way that man absolutely cooked. I think he's just continuing just to get better here. He's just learning the game more. He always goes through just a little transition where he like just slims down in the off season. It just looks like he's always ready to go. he always just plays his game, which is why like I think because he's still relatively younger. I mean, like you gotta think this dude is not. I mean, I forget exactly how old he is, but like he's still working on little bits of his game. But he's probably one of the best players I've seen. Like play his style of game so smooth and so like almost effortless. It looks like I
Yeah,
go out there
so
and just
efficient.
like yeah, it's just so like I mean he makes these moves. Everything like it almost looks a little slower, but it's so calculated and it's so under control and it's just so good and he just again I think he's only going to get better and better. At the moment I think I'm going to stick with him at probably number one there, but yeah it'd be for me just kind of jumping out early either Shy or Luca, one or two.
My one and two, I'll give you. My one is Luka Doncic. My two is Nikola Jokic. Both those guys, phenomenal one-on-one players, can do it on both ends. Let me take that back. Luka maybe not on the defense end, but still great players. Top of their really the league. I mean, those are universally. I think you have to have either Jokic or Luka in your top three. Like it, you have to. There's just different game changers. They're this era, the 2020s era, definitely up
Yeah.
there. So yeah, that's our top five. So it's I think that's solid. That's solid. I hope the Jason Tatum one sticks out for the season. I know that was a bold one that I gave there,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, it was between him and Embiid, and yeah, Embiid's still gonna ball, but he's not top five. You know, he can't stay healthy, and that's why I didn't have Brown in my top five either. He can still do it. Don't get me wrong. But he's just out in minute limits and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's not
LeBron is literally better than Jason Tatum right now. Jason Tatum's a fraud.
We'll see. We'll
No,
see
I'm
when the
playing.
season
I don't
starts.
think he's actually a fraud, but I just for all the Celtics fans out there. But no, that's solid. I'm not saying he's a bad player by any means because he's definitely not. Uh, I just I have him basically like just outside the top five. Probably I'd have to really like think it out if I were to do it again. But probably I mean probably in the seven range or so, probably around there. Maybe even six, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's solid. That's our top five. Maybe we'll get to the bottom five next week. On the next episode and do something like that. That would be kind of clean. Grant, what you got to say?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people already know, but Tuesday night, the Phoenix Suns and the Detroit Pistons came out and they played at Breslin, which is Michigan State's basketball stadium there. I didn't personally go, but my brother was there and he sent a whole bunch of pictures. I know a couple of different buddies that were out there, but it was incredible to see. Like it was a really good student turnout there. Like a lot of people actually came out to watch. A lot of people got excited about it. Basically, I know everyone that was there put it on their story. It's and so just real quick, just kind of like I thought it was cool because the NBA talks about how they want to reach out and get basically every branch of like audience they can get and try to connect with all these different groups or whatnot. And I thought this is a fantastic thing. I think they should do throughout preseason. And I'm not. I have to look more at the history of it, but they should go to start playing at more college basketball stadiums. Start playing at more. I mean, like imagine like if we went and saw like Warriors and Cavs back then, like they had a preseason game or something like that or whatnot, and it was at like Van Andel in Grand Rapids.
That would have been hype.
Like stuff like that. Like if you do stuff like that and you can bring it to big markets, I think that's going to be something that for one, you're just gonna get if you're to do it in bigger cities, that's gonna attract more than just the college kids. It's gonna attract anybody that's in the city there. And it's just like a way to grow the game, in my opinion. I think it's a huge like addition that the NBA should start doing. I don't know if you really bring it to like I mean, regular season would be kind of crazy too. I mean if it offers up for that, that'd be fantastic. But then at that point, you're taking away home games and whatnot. So I understand from that vantage point, but at least the preseason, like I mean, if you're talking about growing the game so much, I think that's a fantastic idea. And so I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I like that. I like that idea of like you said, you're in college, so you got ages, let's say 18, 23, 24. But those kids will come out to the games, especially if you got the big name players like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Cade
Mhm.
Cunningham, those guys dudes playing. Even if they play, it's preseason and they're playing 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
It's still something cool, for the fans to kind of get behind, and it's easy. They don't have to worry about the I didn't look at ticket prices, but I'm assuming it's not going to be as expensive as
Yeah.
at a NBA venue or anything like that. So that's another way how you can kind of get more people. And then there may be a lot of people, they don't keep up with basketball, but they keep up with the big names. They can be like, "Oh, I didn't know so and so was here," and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it gives people a wider perspective on just what's happening in the league and everything. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, dang, I wish I would have gone to that. Just be like, dang, I saw KD in person at Breslin, so that would have been hype. But yeah, man, I think that's a great idea. I think they should definitely try to look and adopt something like that. I know there's some teams, they go to other, like, I don't know if it's colleges or whatnot, but they have like open practices, where
Yeah.
people are able to get into it. But it's not, a real game against another team, right? It's not
Exactly. Yeah.
against. Yeah,
Yeah. Like I
yeah.
saw. I think it was the Utah Jazz. They went somewhere and did that
Hmm.
for college or high school even or whatever it was. But that's cool too. Like I mean, I think that's great. Like I love that. But like for example, like the price like aspect of it, I think all students got in for free. I think you just had to like
See,
either show you like your ID or something or whatever it was. But it's like if that's the case, I mean, like I know everyone's putting on their story like, oh, there's KD, there's KD. It's like it's just cool. It gets people out, gets people talking about the NBA. It's just I think it's a great tool, and it's I mean, I just think if it hasn't been already utilized, like essentially for every single team, then I think it definitely should be. Because I know there's, I mean, people out there that want to go see at least somebody on some team. So, I mean, if you just make the preseason games, just a couple of them, I mean, I think that's just going to already do you wonders right there and get people that much more excited about, the season coming up.
absolutely, yeah, and I mean it gets them into the season as well too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
they may, if your team is good, if you have a bad team, then yeah, fans might fall off. But if you have a good team, then fans may stay engaged and watch it. Yes, the NBA is a very long season, so you're not going to stay fully engaged, like
yeah,
us and other basketball diehards. But I mean, still, it's still another way to kind of grow the game, essentially what the NBA wants to do. And yeah,
yeah.
so you bring up a great point. I agree with that. They should try to look into something like that, and maybe somewhere down the road they can figure out, hey, if we were to have a game at a college stadium or something like that, that'd be pretty cool, like a regular season game,
Hmm.
since the season is so long. So we'll see. That's a good point you brought up there. So yeah, but you got anything else before we end it for the day?
That was mostly it, man. I mean, go Tigers. They play
Tigers.
tomorrow, so by the time I think this drops, either the game will have already been played or it will just be starting, potentially.
Something,
We'll
yeah,
see.
something like that.
Something like that. So we'll see. If not, go Tigers. Hopefully, we'll see them in the next round.
Yes, sir. I hope they do make it to the divisionals. Yeah, it'll be the ALDS, so that'll be hype for sure. And yeah, get Detroit rocking. It's
That'll
October in
be
the D. You got the
it'll
Red
be
Wings. The Red Wings
ALCS,
start
right?
tomorrow too. So what?
It'll be ALCS, won't it? This
Yes,
is
you're
yeah.
right.
I was like, this yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. The ALCS. Thank you for correcting me on that. Yes, yeah, because we are in the ALDS right now. Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, that's all we got for now. And until next time, go Tugs.
Tigers.